Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys we are going to be talking about Duel Links. Yes, Duel Links. The Yu-Gi-Oh app that everybody asks me, do I play Duel Links? So that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of Duel Links, pretty much. That is going to be today's video. So first off, let me just tell you a little bit about Duel Links and what I've done with playing with it. Originally when Duel Links first came out, I actually started playing Duel Links. For the first month and a half, I really played it a lot. I enjoyed playing with it. I played it on my girlfriend's iPad. However, I stopped playing it for a long time until about 3 weeks ago, about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, something of that nature. And then I picked it up, I downloaded the app again, and I've been playing it ever since, quite often actually. And I've been thoroughly enjoying it completely. I love playing it. And I've come to see the contrasting nature of, for when it first started to now being almost a full year. It's been out for what, like 10, 11 months almost? It's been out for quite some time. So saying that, I feel like I can talk a little bit about how I've seen it develop, what I've heard from the community, things of this nature. So without further ado, we'll get into the video. But a lot of people are going to ask me this question: Seto, what is your username on Duel Links? Well, if you want to add me, I guess, you feel free to. My username, and I'm going to just put it up here, I'm going to say it, and then it'll be down in this comment section down below, and in the description as well. My username is Stonewall, all lowercase, so STONEWALLKAR. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my username. If you want to add me on Duel Links and just have some fun or talk to me. But remember, I'm a human being. I can't get back to everybody's messages. But now let's get into today's video. So some of the pros and cons of Duel Links that I've come to like and dislike about the game since first playing it. I'm just playing it in general. The first thing I have to admit that I like about it, so we'll go with the pros and then the cons, is the fact that it's brought new blood into the Yu-Gi-Oh community. In one way or another, it's brought new life, new exposure, a bunch of positives into the Yu-Gi-Oh community in that aspect. It's given Yu-Gi-Oh more exposure. It's brought, and I've seen this happen at different locals and heard stories all over the place of how old players that played back in the day found that it got released on a phone app. They downloaded it, they played it, they enjoyed it. Things went great with it, so that's why they start playing it, and then they say, oh, I remember playing it as a kid. Well, let me pick up playing Yu-Gi-Oh now in real life. So they'll play Duel Links and they'll play in real life. So I see this happen a lot. I see this happen quite often. I've had it happen to me at least 3 or 4 times, and I've had multiple comments and heard multiple stories about this happening. So it's at least bringing new blood in from people that don't even know about Yu-Gi-Oh, or it's bringing old blood in that's pretty much new if they haven't been playing since the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh back into the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a great thing to do, having more people into this paper card game, because it's inspiring people to look into Yu-Gi-Oh more as a hobby, which is great, and I don't see there's no problem with that whatsoever. The number 2 thing I guess you could say is it gives me an old school feel to some degree when I play Duel Links. Now, when Duel Links first launched, I remember Banishment of Courage and there was Wonder Balloons and things of that nature. It kind of reminded me of literally playing the Yu-Gi and Kaiba starter decks pretty much mentality when I was trying to build my first couple decks. It was literally that nature. My monster is bigger than your monster, thus I run over you. There wasn't as much strategy, but as the game has progressed and grown, there's been new cards introduced. And just like Yu-Gi-Oh, if you are familiar with the inception of Yu-Gi-Oh and what it's become over the years, over time, if you know your Yu-Gi-Oh history, you'll notice that it's done the same thing. Basic caveman Yu-Gi-Oh, all the way up, adding little bits and pieces here to make you be able to do combo plays, build different decks, different ideas, different play things. Just overall, it's added little bits of things to make things more complex, but in a small way. They've done a great job on Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links of just slowly doing the power curve, which is amazing. But they do it very well. They don't bring in broken cards like Pot of Greed we had to deal with back in the day, Regeki, Dark Hole. Oh, there's no Delinquent Duo, Confiscation, Forceful Sentry, no Donzalug to Rip My Hand Apart, and Spirit Reaper, Curse Thee. As of right now, that is not on Duel Links, but I know they're introducing things like Glad Beast and Crystal Beast, and Heroes they're even doing to some extent. So they're introducing things, but they're not introducing the overpowered broken stuff. Yeah, they have things like Horus level 8, which is a broken card. Really, it is if you know what the effect does. Negate all spell cards your opponent has. Whee! That's a broken card. No matter if it's 2005 or 2017, negating all your opponent's spell cards, good card. So, pretty much what I'm trying to say is, I like the fact that it gives me this old school feel of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Back. Right, I mean, when it first started, it was like literally playing Caveman, Seto, Kaiba, Yu-Gi starter deck, but now it's more like playing in the prior to Invasion of Chaos feel, I guess you could say. And the reason I say that is because when Invasion of Chaos came out, special summoning became no longer special. And from what I've played in Yu-Gi-Oh!, yeah, special summoning happens. I've seen it. I've seen replays. You have different cards that allow you to special summon and reoccur monsters. But it's not on the level of broken to back when Chaos Emperor Dragon and Envoy of the Beginning came out. It's not that broken yet. Or Cyber Dragon broken when that came out in literally killed goat format. So saying that, it gives me that old school feel. And granted, they may add synchros and whatnot down the road, which would be great, but I do thoroughly enjoy playing it for that reason. The meta. I've heard a lot of people say this, and from just watching other people play, from watching earlier this year when they had their own tournaments, they even have, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links Worlds. We haven't really had anything like that since the old Game Boy games we used to play, like with Yu-Gi-Oh! World Tournament. Like they had a whole bunch of those, like for Game Boy Advance and the DS originally. They had a lot of things like that. But to actually see events like that again for an app that is far more popular is amazing and great overall, and I'm thoroughly happy about that. That the meta, you can actually, if you want to, you can play for fun, or you can play competitively in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta. Just like you could in real life, which is awesome. So if you want to be a casual Duel Links player, you can be that. If you want to be a competitive guy, you can be that. It really doesn't matter necessarily, which is a great thing to do and awesome to see. And plus, Duel Links is a great thing to pass time. It's simply fun is another thing I'm going to mention as one of my last things here. The fact it's just a simply fun thing to play. It's just a fun app to play, to just bide some time. You're bored, you're tired, you're about to go to bed, play some Duel Links for a bit. Whatever the case is, it's simply fun. If I got a Yu-Gi-Oh! Knack, because I'm like right now, I've been sick this past week. Alright? I've been sick in bed, so I haven't been able to go out and play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatnot, and I have no one to play with. So I can play on Dueling Book or somewhere else, which is cool and awesome, but I need my computer for that. But if I'm like at work and I'm not feeling that good, I can play Duel Links for fun. Or if I'm in bed, about to go to bed, I can play some Duel Links. Or, it makes Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot more accessible. And I think that's a topic for a different video, because people don't understand this. Compared to when Yu-Gi-Oh! First got started, it was a physical card game. Now it's adapted to being Yu-Gi-Oh! Anywhere you can play. You can play it on the go, on your computer more. Back originally, that wasn't the case. Yes, you could trade IP addresses back then, I remember that. But you don't need to do that anymore. You can just get on a server, or you can get on an app and just play some Yu-Gi-Oh! For fun if you need to get the itch out of you of just summoning Blue Eyes White Dragon today, because I just watched a Seto Kaiba meme or something. So we've talked about all the cons here for about 6 minutes. All the pros, excuse me. Now we're going to talk about the cons. Now people may not like me for saying some of these cons, mind you, but it's how I feel. So just please respect my opinion. That's all I ask. You can disagree, and that's fine. The first one, the players. Now, I'm not talking about people on Duel Links necessarily. A lot of players I know that play in real life, they play Duel Links. Or, some people I know just play Duel Links explicitly. or they've played Duel Links especially, and then they're like, oh, I want to learn about Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit more. So they'll actually go to YouTube videos or subreddits, and they'll be looking up Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff. And they stumble across my channel or somebody else's channel, you know? And that's great. So I have no problem with the Duel Links community. It's the problem, and it's not that I hate it necessarily. It's just like makes me want to do this. Like facepalm my face going, oh my gosh, no kid. No child, no, 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 no. That's not how it works. And I had this happen to me at locals one time, and it just made me go, it made me see the con to Duel Links. Duel Links, it hurts the players. And the fact that it's just not Yu-Gi-Oh! Necessarily. Now, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's using the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, but it has its own different meta altogether, which is great. But it's also a con by trying to bring new blood in. Because I've seen this so many times, and I've heard stories, and this happened to me personally a while ago when Duel Links first came out. And these people were picking up the app that never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, and they thought this is how you play Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2017. The fact that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not, Duel Links is not Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you're using 3 monster zones, your 3 spell and trap zones, an extra deck of 5 limitation, okay, a field spell zone, which you can activate directly, if you know, depending upon the deck you're playing, or the character you're playing necessarily. It's not Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not, and you don't, so for that reason, it's just not Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not draw 5 cards in your opening hand. It's not even like old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Draw 6 cards in your opening hand. And thank gosh, Duel Links does not have priority like back in the day. Praise be to Jesus. But, literally, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! It's Yu-Gi-Oh! But in a different form. If we were to go in a different dimension, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay? But, it's fun, and I don't dislike it for that reason. But as I go here into my second dislike, the fact that it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! The fact that we have been freaking asking forever for an official Yu-Gi-Oh! Online simulator from Konami. If Duel Links was that, I would be happy. I would be ecstatic. And I guess they wanted to test this out to see if people could understand this, and maybe down the road they'll make their own thing. Maybe they thought Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten too complicated, so we shouldn't do a simulator, we should do something smaller. And maybe down the road we'll introduce it. Hopefully this gives them the fact that this gave them so much success, they were proceeding to doing that. But the problem it's causing, as I go into my number 2 now, is it's causing players that want to learn the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's causing that same mentality people had as a kid, that you watch the show. And because that's the way, so if you watch Duelist Kingdom, if you just watched Duelist Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day as a kid, you thought everyone out there from back then, unless you were one of the guys reading the rule book right away, which there were some people, you thought that's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was played. You thought you could normal summon 3 blue eyes white dragons for no reason. Even this guy cheated doing that to his younger brother, who still hates me for it to this day. Because I used to do that. But that's what I'm trying to say. Because Duel Links is a little bit different, the field setup is different, the combo plays are not as extensive. It's not like, there's some of the decks are, they do take combos, and I'm not taking away from that. But it's the fact that you only can summon 3 monsters, and you only have 3 in spell and trap zones. I mean, is Paleo gonna survive in Duel Links? No, probably not. Is Dot deck, is this deck gonna survive? Not necessarily. You know what I'm trying to say here? I've seen people come into our locals, and I've heard stories. They come in, they have no idea. They think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like Duel Links in 2017. That's how they played. Even if they played back in the day, that's how they think. Or they're a new player, they play Duel Links, and they come in, and that's how they think the Yu-Gi-Oh! Game is played. They do that, and guess what happens? I have to explain to them why Wonder Balloons is not played in the meta. Or that card, it's just not going to cut it. And then I'm like, okay, I got to go easy on them. And I'll yank out, and this is no offense to anybody that I've played with this deck. Please don't take it as a thing. I just played it. I love that deck. But I'll yank out like my Blue Eyes deck, my Dark Magician Girl, Egyptian God deck. And I have those decks with me, but I love playing them in general, but I'll be like, okay, I need to go easy on them. And I'm seeing cards that are not even cards that were played back then. You know, I was always used to when an old school player would come back, they'd be playing things like Sakuretsu Armor, Acts of Despair, things of this nature. But no, I'm seeing things like Wonder Balloons, and I'm like, oh gosh. And like, just other things, and I'm just like, Duel Links, I love you, but I hate you. Because you're making these people think this is how Yu-Gi-Oh is played. And it's not cool, man. It's not cool. So, that's how I have to say about that. The players, and the last thing I'm going to mention here as I round up this video is and I can't hate on it because Yu-Gi-Oh, in a way, the real card game is like this. There's a price barrier. If you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh on Duel Links, you need to build a competitive deck. Really, you need to spend a lot of money, or you need to wait a while till you accumulate enough diamonds and coins to get the stuff you need. But if you want to get it right away, you have to do it. Well, in real life, you could A, buy a bunch of packs, but nobody really does that anymore, or B, just go online and drop that exact same amount of money to get the exact same cards. Instead, there's a lot of microtransactions in Duel Links. Not a lot. I've seen games out there with a lot more, so I'm not hating on it. And people would say, well, this makes the Duel Links a pay-to-play app. Yu-Gi-Oh, and this is a topic for a different day, in a way, is pay-to-play. I mean, if you're going to enter a tournament, don't you have to pay to play? I know that's not what I meant, but I just thought of that off the top of my head. So, saying all that, those are my pros and cons of Duel Links. Overall, I love it. I love the players, and I love what it's done for the community as a whole. So I honestly feel, as you see here, the pros outweigh the cons necessarily. But tell me your thoughts down below. Do you play Duel Links? What are your thoughts on Duel Links? Do you think it's helped the community out overall? And I really look forward to see, do you think Duel Links overall has helped the Yu-Gi-Oh community, which people think is just the people that play the physical card game, which it is not. Believe me, it is very wide. But tell me your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Good luck dueling to all of you. Take care, everybody.